Our next presentation is on live enterprise finance and will be delivered by Vinay Gopala Rao. Vinay is Vice President and Strategic Business Practice Head, F&A Infosys BPM Limited. He has over 27 years of experience in the finance industry, with over 17 years spent extensively in the practice of subjects such as accounts, audit, taxation, and corporate law. In his current role, he manages over 14,000 F&A professionals working across 28 centers globally. The digital floor is yours.
Hi, Vinay here. Welcome to this presentation. Thank you also for giving me an opportunity to share my views. What I'm going to talk to you today is about the Infosys live enterprise driven finance and accounting practice. Before I really get into the presentation, I want to give you a context, right? What really is live enterprise? It's really about an ecosystem where people and systems are coming together. It's about the human brain and the digital brain getting together. And when they get together, you get signals, you get messages from it, from which you learn and then start developing solutions which are going to bring value to your customers and other stakeholders. Now, we have seen the kind of social media emergence in a strong way. We've seen business and operating models changing so often. We've also seen the emergence of a lot of systems, right? We started with workflow, we had platforms, we had RPA. Today we talk of blockchain and Internet of Things. So when there is a convergence of so many things, there is also a convergence of a more intelligent customer or a stakeholder who is looking for real value creation beyond the normal business as usual delivery. And that's exactly what the Infosys Live Enterprise is attempting to do, which is to help an organization to evolve and adapt as there are dynamic changes in the world. And the ability to bring intuitive decision making insights, predictive and prescriptive insights, the ability to bring real-time experiences, the ability to really bring compliance which is preventive in nature rather than detective. In today's world where there is so much of financial settlements online, it's extremely important to have a very strong compliance system, right? So all of this is what encompasses what a live enterprise would do. I'll now just dive into the presentation so that we understand the whole concept. So there are five really components for Infosys Finance.live, right? One is connected, second is agile, third is hyper automated, fourth is sentient, and the last is experiences. Now I'll just take a few minutes to explain to you each of these components and how we have actually brought value to our customers using some couple of case studies, right? So if you look at connected, it's really about how you can bring an end-to-end functional synergy between, say, the entire source to pay function, or between the front end supply chain and the back end, the collections order to cash space, right? It is about we all know that the finance and accounting world is hugely federated. If you see many CFO organizations, they are spread across many regions and countries. How do you bring the data lying in different systems together using, say, universal business language or API or other connectors? Or let me give you the example of what we did for a leading telecom company in the US. We were able to connect 7 ERPs, 43 countries, close to 500 users through our accounts payable on a cloud platform, the network of networks. And today we're processing about $80 billion of payments using this framework. That is what we call connected, where you're becoming the core person for all stakeholders. Second is really about agility. Agility is not just about touchless processing or the ability to process transactions, removing all inefficiencies. It's also about ability to take decisions quickly, the ability to maybe do a knowledge transfer quickly. For example, in this pandemic, we have our Emphasis Digitron, a solution which we have used to do home-to-home transfer of knowledge in rapid time, right? And connected to this is also the ability to bring solutions which have a good return of investment, and they bring in early returns, right? The time to market is an extremely important thing. So this is what is the agility component of it. If we look at hyper automated, we're talking of extreme automation, right? You moved away from your transactional workflows and platform. You moved away from RPA. RPA is there, but it's bread and butter today. So you're moving to a platform-based organization. A platform-based today in Infosys, about 30% of our transactions are processed by people on the floor. By the systems on the floor, and the balance 70 by people. And we are aspiring to change that to maybe 60-40 kind of a situation, right? And then we have emergence of blockchain and Internet of Things. Today we have our continuous close, which is really about eliminating cash application, elimination, reconciliation, and other things, and to be able to do close on a live basis. I give you an example which kind of intersects between hyper automated and agility, right? For a client of ours, Philips, we have implemented 550 bots, eliminating about 320 people's worth of work, creating 643,000 spare hours, and also a 3x return. All of this was done within 18 months because we had repeatable use cases. There is no reinventing the cycle, and we had that Lego blocks ready, right? So that is what we call as one, time to market, the agility. At the same time, it is hyper automation. Imagine 550 bots actually processing the transactions. So this is about hyper automation. Now let's look at sentient. Sentient is the ability to sense things. I'll give you a very good example that we have implemented for our own company, Infosys, where compliance has been changed from usual sending Excels or PowerPoints, which give you the information of audit, root cause analysis. We have moved to an analytic and automated solution, which actually connects with the ERP. So it is connecting at the source data level. The moment somebody on the floor is processing the transaction, you're immediately getting sense, a positive or a negative sense of what's happening on the transaction. And these repeated senses that we have studied becomes a message that, look, there seems to be a negative, there seems to be a potential for fraud. And we have used artificial intelligence to build a solution which really helps us to move from a detective to a preventive, compliance. We have used, say, SAP GRC to automate the segregation of duties. We have used SQL query to completely use the maker-checker concept. So how you can use automation and how you can bring technology as well as the ability to sense things on a proactive basis is very critical, especially in today's world. We used to stand in the line to draw money in the bank. Then we stood in the ATM. Now today we're sitting at home and settling it on the phones. It comes with its own advantages, but also perils of potential frauds. And therefore, building a very strong, pervasive compliance system is extremely important, and that's sentient. And it's also about how the changing digital force, the workforce is changing. On the floor, you have 60-65% of human processing, about 30-35% of the systems processing, right? And the ability also to use your domain, your data, as well as algorithms to bring insights. The fifth component of it is really about experience, right? You are looking at phygital experience, real-time incident experience. For example, an accident happens. The ability of having connected to the car system, which immediately starts sending signals as to what is the state of the car, where did the accident happen, the location of the car, the location of the entire systems within it, what's happened to the person driving or the people within the thing on a real-time basis. That's the kind of experience that people are looking for, right? Even our Infosys Accounts Payable and Cloud, it comes with the the mobility and cloud option, the ability to approve invoices sitting, in your room on a watch or on a phone. These are the kind of things that really are the 5 components. So connected, agility, hyper-automated, sentient, and experience, which drive our finance.live and give the CFS organization perceptive experiences, intuitive decisions, responsive value chain, and pervasive compliance. Now, if this is what it is all about, what is it that it is doing over and above all that we have heard or we have experienced in life, which a CFO can look forward to, which really leads me to the next slide, right? Now, on the left-hand side, you're seeing what is the business as usual. Integrity of financial data, extremely important. Data privacy, that's extremely important, especially in the pandemic when you're processing transactions from home. You got to have a very strong data privacy thing. Improved business metrics, the top quartile of cost of finance, rapidly deployable general next gen solution. This is business as usual today. What Infosys Finance.live is also doing is its ability to make a CFO organization adapt to future scenarios. There are changing business models, there are changing operating models. The technology is evolving every day. How are you going to prepare yourself, not just for the current, but also future, and see that solutions are built around it, right? The second, if I already spoke to you about preventive compliance, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but that's extremely important. Third is, you are the nerve center. You are the nerve center. The CFO's organization becomes the nerve center for all stakeholders, call it suppliers, customers, bankers, regulatory authorities, shareholders, employees. It is the CFO which is becoming things. So our ability to connect different systems, bring data together and provide insights is going to make a huge difference there. Then today, gone are the days where you will be able to provide your financials, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, and working capital only at the end of a period. That's required for a statutory purposes. But today, on the click of a button, can you give real-time view of what's happening? What is your P&L at this moment? How does your balance sheet look? Where are you on the cash flow? Do you have adequate working capital? That is what the Live Enterprise is doing. Now, I also give you an example of what we are doing on the floor, right? We have connected using our digital command console, which we call, to the ERP systems which are processing the transactions, so that when people are processing transactions on the floor, you're immediately getting real-time insights of how well the transactions are being processed. Are we meeting the SLAs? If there is a issue, how a root cause analysis can be immediately done. So you are sitting thousands of miles away and getting all this information on a real-time basis. That's where the world is moved to, and that's how Live Enterprise has brought this together. So if all of these were to be combined, it really is about maximizing the net promoter score. You are really looking at how can you make the CFO's organization look better in their own ecosystem. I'll just take you back to one more example, right? Now, there was a retail customer based out of London who had issues of closing their books as late as 12 days, and their target was 5 days. We did a project to look into this, and we found that the markets are not connected. There are 4 markets, they're not talking to each other. There is a lot of fallout of errors that's happening during the entire close process and during the entire month. And then as you come towards the end of the month, you find there's a pileup of so much of work to be undone, right? So we wrote 80 business rules using the Infosys information platform, connected these 4 market things, removed all these unwanted fallouts, which is really about bringing that process to a more touchless regimen. And the resultant was that we were able to bring the close down from 12 to 5 days. If you look at the Indian Income Tax Department itself, they had 400 people actually processing all the assessment returns. When you file your income tax returns, a set of people at the back end processing the transaction. It used to take almost a year by the time you get the news of whether what you filed and whether the taxes you paid were right or wrong. We built an automated system which changed the entire experience. It became a platform-based thing that by The moment you file a return, you get a reply back saying that, look, we acknowledge and we have received your thing. Within 72 hours, it would give you whether your calculations were right or wrong. And then it would give a root cause analysis to help you correct your tax returns and process either a refund or a payment voucher. So that's called the way you change the way an experience works out, right? We have delivered these kind of solutions, which is what I talked of. These 4 solutions which I talked of, they are articulated in these slides. I don't want to go into slide. We have also defined it, by each tower, whether it's an accounts in an accounts payable, what is live enterprise, account receivable, live enterprise, or in FP&A. The idea at the end of the day is whether we are processing any transaction, we need to make an organization responsive to what is coming into the future and not just focus on the current. And the ability through these 5 components is all Infosys Finance.live is all about. I've tried to explain all of this and through examples. I'm now going to take a pause and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Vinay. It's time for questions, as Vinay mentioned. We have the first one here. What are the key changes in finance to expect?
Sure. Look, there are about 5 to 6 trends that we are observing, right? One, we are going to move from a periodic close to a live close. Periodic close, that is for statutory purposes, is always going to continue, but you're going to have a live close as well. You really will need to know whether your P&L, balance sheet, and profit loss account at any point of time. That's the first thing. The second thing is really about moving to a preventive compliance from a detective compliance. Third, there's going to be a lot more of automation. It's not going to be just about RPA and other things. Blockchain and Internet of Things is going to take over the way transactions are going to be processed. The accountant itself, his talent is going to change. It's not going to be just about your domain, just about your accounting talent. You will have to have some amount of emotional intelligence, some amount of communication skills to be able to straddle across the organization and bring insights. And last but not the least, you're going to see that some of the solutions today are there. They're very specific point solutions that are available, right? They're all going to get consolidated into the larger ERP. And data is going to be the king. The people who can influence decision making and see that a CFO as a partner is the one which is going to play a key role, if that answers your question.
Thank you. And what should a finance professional do in order to be prepared for the future?
Yeah, I think, like I said, one is it's not enough that if you're just having the strong accounting domain. Of course, that's the basic requisite, very important. Please also focus on your ability to understand the changing digital world. Invest in some technology knowledge, right? You got to be able to process transaction in a digital world. Try to improve your communication skills because you are expected to be a partner to the business, and your ability to speak to different stakeholders and get good insights, get good knowledge is very important. And last, you've got to have an empathy and an emotional quotient and intelligence. So I think these are the 3 or 4 changes that every professional, accounting professional, will have to make.
And what do you advise your customers when they start the live enterprise journey?
Well, like I said, that our articulation or our positioning of all of this is that we want to prepare you for the future. You are going to grow as a business. You may do mergers, you may do acquisitions, you may split your business, you may do demergers. You will see change business and operating models. Who knew, if you look at the Ubers and Olas of the world, that we would travel like this, where we would get right from the time we get into the car till we reach the family is getting an update of every single block and corner. How do we, look at Facebook? They don't own the content, but they're the social media kings. Alibaba does not own the inventory, but they are the kings in that storage system. So with this kind of changing business and operating models as well as emerging technologies, how are you going to prepare yourself for the future? And that's exactly what Live Enterprise does, bringing you business as usual, all that you require, which I just showed to the left of the side, but at the same time ensuring that you're adaptive to the future.
And you mentioned automating segregation of duties control using SAP GRC. Is that fully automated, or do you still have a manual approver to confirm the automation's recommendation?
No, it is fully automated. We don't need any manual intervention. Like I said, even the maker checker, that is the person who creates and then reviews, that also has been automated using the SQL query. We have Panaya, our testing thing, which also connects on a live basis to be able to provide a false positive or negative, so that thing. So with this thing, what we have moved is a 16-member team which was conducting audit for one unit of our organization. Today is using the system to conduct it for 16 different units without any increase in size of the team, and they're doing it on every monthly basis as opposed to an yearly basis. So that's the kind of automation.
And what are the main challenges in front of Live Enterprise?
See, one is its ability to socialize it. Obviously, people ask me, what is Live Enterprise? Is it a person? Is it a system? Is it a technology? The ability to convey across that it's an ecosystem of human and digital ware, both coming together, connected within a system, and looking to add value. That's what it is. And we have been doing a lot of messaging. We've been able to position and how each of the components play a huge role in influencing the CFO's organization. So I guess that's the thing. It's about getting the message across in the right way, and so far we've been successful.
How is data mining changing our reality?
Well, see, data mining is all about understanding about the process, so that you find what is the fat in it. In Infosys, we call it the value stream map, where you're really looking at what are the inefficiencies in the processes, what are the opportunities to eliminate the waste, eliminate certain things which are not required at all in the process, and automate certain things which can be clearly automated, so that you're making the process not just efficient, but it's also effective, and the experience around the process is also changing. So these are the three things about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Vinay, for joining us today and taking the time.
Thank you, and thank you to the audience as well.